Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is good to see each of you. And before I even begin saying anything, I want to especially thank those women who made it possible for us to be here last night and today. Thank you so very much. Together. And I did not know that so many of us still existed. I sort of thought that everybody but Addie was dead. Part of you have gone on and are no longer with us. But you have encouraged my heart. It is good to see you, and I pay tribute to each one of you. Would you really believe that at the age of 2, I knew that black people were disrespected, unprotected, neglected, rejected, discriminated against. But I did not know until I entered the workplace in this country that women were also discriminated against, unprotected, neglected, disrespected. And it was when I started in the workforce of this nation that I discovered we had more problems than we could even begin to dream of. And that's what started me on this road as a feminist, as a person who would fight for justice, peace, and equality for all of us. White women, black women, brown women, red women, polka dot women, anyone. We would fight together to make life better for all of us. I went to work at a very early age, 17 years old, because I came from a very rich family. We just didn't have any money. And I did not like doing without. I did not like being hungry. I did not like having to move every month because you didn't have rent to pay to a new house. Even to the point when I started to school here in the city of Chicago, I couldn't remember where we lived when I came out of school one day because we had moved so often. And I raised the question with my precious mother, does it have to really be like this? Why are we sometimes hungry? And why do we move all the time? Why is it that things happen to us and you just cry? And we watch you cry. Can it be better? My mother said to me, Addie, life can be better, but you'll have to help make it so. Little did I understand what that meant to me. At the year of 80, I knew better than I did at 3 that I have to struggle, fight, stand up, refuse to sit down when I didn't want to sit down. I knew that I was on the right track. And when I see so many of you here that were fighting with me, encouraging ourselves when nobody else would encourage us, I knew that we were on the right track. And I want to pay special tribute to you. You know who you are. We would meet together at a time when women seldom went to meetings. And certainly if you went to the meetings, you did not stand up to protest the treatment that women, your sisters, your daughters, your granddaughters, your aunts, others, were treated, were exposed to. We didn't have the courage, some of us, to say that I'm hurting. And we were hurting. Nothing in the world disturbed me more when I became a negotiator in the organized labor movement, to hear women being called girls and gals, you know, and the other names. And what disturbed me even more was to see women smile and take it. I knew that something had to be done, that life for us could be better, but together we'd have to help make it so. I was sent as a delegate to my first conference, women's conference, in 1954. When I walked in that room, I saw what I thought could be the changing group, the force that could help bring about a change. There were men, women, young and old, various races, creeds, religious groups in this room, and they were talking about anti-discrimination. I wasn't too sure what they meant by anti-discrimination, because we called it all different things at that time. We didn't understand each other's language, each other's pain, unconcern. But the longer we sat in that room and we talked together, it was so therapeutic to me just to be able to talk about my pain and for others to talk about their pain. White women and black women learned that they had pain, serious pain, that nobody understood but them. And nobody would really do what was necessary to change that condition if they didn't do it themselves. And so I was sitting as the leaders of our union began to talk about women and blacks in leadership. 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 I said, that's a good thing. We can find somebody to give leadership. I went back to the union to give my report, and lo and behold, they bought it, that we could have black and white, male and female leadership. But we couldn't find any leaders among the women, because all of us were very busy in our homes, helping to raise our children, doing what we could, and now we're asking for women leadership in the union. Two elderly women came over to me and said, listen, we've challenged them and they've accepted it. We can't find a leader. I said, that's too bad, we got to pray about that. They looked at me and said, listen, you could be the leader. No, not me. I can't be the leader. They said to me, you can be the leader. If you will lead, we'll do everything that we can to help you. Well, that was a challenge until the last day of making a selection for the woman who would run for the vice president of our union, with a man, white male, who would run for the president. I accepted it, not dreaming or not thinking at all, and hoping and praying that I wouldn't win. But I accepted it. And that day of the election, I went home, I never went to the polls to vote. But when I came back the next day, they were all in the hall of the plant where I worked, saying, "Congratulations." I said, "For what?" "You're the vice president of the union, of the local union." I said, "Oh, no, that can't be." Well, you know, it took me some time to tell my precious husband that I was now the vice president of the party. Every day that we get home, we'd have such wonderful dinner and such a wonderful meeting with each other. I just didn't have the courage. I'd wait a little bit longer, pray a little bit more. And one day when I had to go to the meeting, I burst out and said to him, "Honey, do you know I've been elected vice president of our local union, the first woman vice president of a local union in the UPWA?" He said, "What?" I said, "Oh, yes." He said, "Well, listen, how are you going to take care of the things here at home?" I said, "Well, together we can do that. Because we've got to make life better for our children and for ourselves." And I found a group that means so much to us, and they will help us to do that. Well, he challenged me. He said, "If you're going to do that, you're going to have to be sure that things don't go undone here." I said, "Listen, I can do that and this with your help." You know, we've been married 64 years. We've never failed to cooperate, never failed to make a difference, because we took this route of working together with this labor team of women and men who wanted a better life, and also found out that the only way you can get this better life is that you've got to organize. You've got to unify yourself with others who also want a better life. This I did, making a long, wonderful, interesting story short. I became the vice president only to have the wonderful white president to resign. Not because he did not want to work, he had personal problems, and he had to resign. And I went into a meeting one day, waiting for him as president to come and lead the meeting, to be told he's not coming, he's quit. What kind of quit? He's quit, and you are going to be the president. I said, "How am I going to be the president when I'm just barely making it as the vice president?" They encouraged me to try. I accepted that challenge, the first woman president of a UPWA local union, with 2 children of my own, and with 5 children that my deceased mother had given me before she left us. I've got 7 children to take care of. Unify. Put your heart and mind together with the hearts and minds of other people, no matter what color they are, what creed of sound. And you can make it. Organize them and show them the way as they show you the way that teamwork can make a difference. For 33 years, I served in the leadership of the union, trying to help organize and get others to go in that same direction. Listen, we did not change the world, but we changed ourselves. And we banded our hearts and our minds together. And we were able to say to women, life can be better, but you've got to help make it so. We've done so much. In the Equal Rights Amendment, when I would get up to talk, the men would get so upset. There she goes again. Equal rights for women. But the thing that disturbed me most, too many women would say the same thing. There she goes again. Not realizing that together we could make a difference. But if we didn't work together, that difference would never come. I think today of the many beautiful women and men who were encouraged and led to follow that path. And yes, we made a difference. In my own union in the year of 1950, before it became law in this country, we had the Equal Rights Amendment in our contracts. Women could not be discriminated against because of their sex. We were fighting for women to get equal pay for equal work, and we had it in our contracts before the law was passed in this country. It was because we banded together and we tried to understand the problems that each of us faced. We didn't understand it all together. Some of these things you won't understand unless you're the victims yourself, and unless you recognize that you are the victims. I would meet with women like this and say to them, we're not going to be called ghettos. Sitting one day in an office when the employers were getting ready to negotiate, and one of them said, will you send my gal in here? You've got to take some notes. And I sat down, oh God help me to be calm. This attractive young woman came in with her pencil and pad. And I said to the employer, is that who you were talking about? And what did you call her? He started, he tried to explain what he was saying. I said, first place, I don't know what a gal is, but that's not one. And the other thing, I said, she's not a girl. Even though you pay her girl wages, she's not a girl. And you must recognize that, because we're going to demand on this day equal pay for equal work and more pay for all work. Sometimes I got in trouble with the women because they all wanted to be called girls and gals. And I would have to say to them, to call you a girl may flatter your ego, but it flattens your pay. Women had to be taught what that really meant, and to refuse to be called gal and girls when we were women, mothers, sisters, and grandmothers. So the teaching experience was very necessary, and it was great for us. I meet women in the streets now, and men. We laugh about it now. When they tell me about how I would say to the employer, we want women in these departments. And the employer would say to me, we don't have bathrooms for them. And I would respond, that's perfectly all right. We will use the one you use. We taught you to go in the first place. This would sometimes upset the employer. But regretfully, it would also upset sometimes the employees, the women. We had to teach ourselves and to teach each other. We had to let them know that we are on our way to a different world. a world in which we have to have equality, we have to have respect, we have to have protection, and nobody should go through life neglecting any of our needs. And you, sisters and brothers, you will have to help make it so by working together. I want to close by a little poem, but there's so much more I'd like to say. When I get started on this subject, you know, it's hard. But Sister Exeter, she gave a poem that encouraged me and strengthened me, as well as other women and men. Sometimes I wish my eyes, she said, hadn't been open. Sometimes I wish that I could no longer see all the pain, the hurting, the longing of my sisters and me as we try to be free. Sometimes I wish my eyes hadn't been open, just for a moment. How sweet it would be not to be struggling, not to be striving, but just sleep securely in our slavery. But now that I've seen with my eyes, I can't close them. Because deep inside of me, somehow I still know the road that you, my sisters, and my brothers, and I would have to travel. My heart would say this, and my feet would say go. Sometimes I wish my eyes hadn't been open. But now that they are, I'm determined to see that you, my sisters, my brothers, my children, and I would be the free people that our God created us to be. With that determination in my mind, I've taken some liberal whippings, I've taken some bumps, some lumps, but I still carry on because God has blessed me with people like you who are going with me, who will stand up and speak with me and for me. This is a new day, but I want to say, A. Philip Randolph was right, and I paraphrase, when he said that the struggle is not won, it's continuous. I thought by 1984, when I retired, I thought surely that we will be singing, "We have overcome." But let me suggest to you, I hope the day will soon come when the young people will pick up this mantle and carry it to that post where they can hang it up in the sky and say, "We have overcome." Thank you.